8 things to know before going to New Zealand. So number one, you're gonna want to bring your passport everywhere you go. So my cousin and I, we ran into this problem when we were trying to buy alcohol at the New Worlds and the Countdowns. They're two of the shopping centers. So they want to see your passport for identification. They don't accept an Australian driver's license, even to get into the club. It's a bit weird because who's carrying around their passport when they're going to the club? Like, you want to keep that safe. It's a bit strict in my opinion, but they want that for identification. Even if you're going into a pub, you just want a beer, so you're going to want to bring your passport everywhere basically. It's a bit of a inconvenience, but it's what you got to do. Okay, so the second thing you're going to want to know before heading to New Zealand is that it's not very cheap necessarily. It can get quite pricey, especially for activities like your bungee jumping. That can be upwards of $200. Fuel is quite expensive. That's like $2 a litre. Things in general, it's a first world country, similar prices to Australia, Canada, those types of countries. In terms of the currency, it's pretty similar to the Australian dollar, so it's like 1 for 1 with that, and that's pretty much equal to the Canadian dollar. Yeah, in New Zealand you can do a budget. There obviously are hostels, but it's not going to be your cheapest destination, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so when you're traveling New Zealand, you're likely going to hire a car and be driving a lot, so you're going to want to get familiar with the road rules. So the first thing you should know is in New Zealand, we drive, not we because I'm Australian, but they drive on the left side of the road, same as Australia. So a lot of you Americans and stuff are gonna have to keep that in mind. And with the roads, in the winter time, they can get very slippery because of the ice. And what you'll notice a lot, especially in the South Island, is these one-way bridges. So you're gonna wanna give way. So I think whoever gets to the bridge first, or whoever's on the right side, there'll be a sign, but they're these narrow bridges and they're one way. They're quite fun to drive along. Yeah, so you're gonna wanna be familiar with the road rules and just take it easy. A lot of the more experienced New Zealand drivers will be driving quite fast. There'll be some big trucks moving logs. That's what I noticed a lot. So yeah, definitely drive safe when in New Zealand. And what I did notice is there's lots of police on the sides of the highways catching people speeding. I think the max speed limit was like 100 k's, maybe 110, but yeah, definitely be familiar with the road rules. Now, something that surprised myself and my cousin when we went to New Zealand was the scenery. I've heard it's nice, but it absolutely blew me away. Like, driving in the car, road tripping and seeing the scenery, like the whole time I was just like, holy shit, this is incredible. Like, there's so many opportunities to get out, take pictures and just take it in. It's absolutely crazy. And the scenery changes so rapidly. Like, one minute you'll be driving and it'll be like green hills full of sheep, and then the next minute you'll see some big ass snow-capped mountain, and then you'll be near a beach. The scenery is like absolutely unbelievable. I've never seen anything like that. Definitely shits on Australian scenery. We've got beaches, but New Zealand also has beaches. That's something I don't think too many people realize. But yeah, the scenery is going to absolutely blow you away. And especially the South Island around Queenstown, Wanaka, that's where the scenery is especially beautiful. There's a big ass lake on the way to Wanaka. I'm not sure what it is, but it's like mirror like the water. It just reflects the mountains. It's absolutely incredible, the scenery. So yeah, especially the South Island, but the North Island's also pretty damn good. So you should definitely know that the internet is definitely not up to par with a lot of countries in New Zealand. So it was especially slow in Franz Josef. Like, I was trying to upload a YouTube video and like it went up 1% every like 10 minutes. It was absolutely shocking. So yeah, the internet's not the best. In Auckland it's going to be a bit better, but in terms of phone plans and SIM cards, we went with Vodafone and that was pretty solid service. Not the best, but when you're road tripping and you get into some more of these remote sort of places around from the bigger cities, the internet's not going to be what you'd expect. It's probably even worse than Australian internet, and Australia is pretty renowned for having not the best internet. So yeah, you're just going to have to be patient and maybe just take in the scenery more. Now, New Zealand is definitely a lot bigger than most people think. People think you can travel 2 weeks and see it all, but that's far from the truth. What I would probably recommend is spending 2 weeks in either the North Island or South Island. What my cousin and I done, we done 2 weeks in both islands, and it was a bit of a rush, but we definitely knew that. But people don't realize that it's a big country. Like, you can definitely travel it in 2 weeks, but there's a whole lot to see in New Zealand. Like, the whole country is pretty much full of mad scenery. So yeah, you got to realize how big New Zealand is and that you're not going to see everything. Something people don't realize about New Zealand is it's not quite Australia. There's no deadly animals in New Zealand. They've got the kiwi bird, and that's not even dangerous. Yeah, people obviously get Australia and New Zealand mixed up, but there's no snakes, or there might be snakes and spiders, but no venomous ones like we have in Australia. So when you're in New Zealand, you should definitely try and go and see a rugby union match. That's like the main sport over in New Zealand. They've got the All Blacks, one of the most successful sporting teams in the world. It's like a religion over there. They absolutely love their rugby. Got a good rivalry with Australia. And yeah, it's definitely going to be a good experience. I personally haven't seen a rugby union game. It would have been something I would have liked to do. But yeah, definitely look around if you're going in the rugby season to, yeah, watch a rugby union game. That's a wrap of the 8 things to know before heading to New Zealand. If you enjoyed the video, I want you to like the video with your middle knuckle. See if you can do that. I'll wait for you. All right, and also subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.